What is up, guys? My name is Gabby Gonzalez, and we are back here with Jim and Joel Platt, the co-founders of Sports Immortals, and we are at one of their off-site vaults. Super excited to be here, and I'm very excited for this video because I'm gonna kind of let them take the reins, and I want to hear your 5 favorite items that you have in this vault. I'm gonna give you this because I'm gonna let you take the lead.
I've been wanting to interview him for many years.
Oh, good.
We both grew up in Pittsburgh. We have many fond memories. And I know there's thousands and thousands of great athletes from Pittsburgh, but is there one particular that is your favorite of all the Pittsburgh people that you met?
Well, I'd say, there's lots of Pittsburgh favorites, but I'd put it in the category of Roberto Clemente, Honus Wagner, Harry Greb. This is one of 2 game-worn jerseys we have that Roberto Clemente gave me, signed to Joel, best wishes. From Roberto Clemente.
It's personalized to you?
It is personalized to me.
Wow.
And this is a jersey from the 1968 season.
What's also special about this jersey is we photo matched it to 1968. Did you know that there's only 2 jerseys that are game used and autographed, and you have both of them?
I don't find that to be a surprise because we have over 1 million items from all the greats. Roberto Clemente was a good friend of mine, asked me one day if I would help him build a museum in his sports complex he was planning in Puerto Rico, and I gladly said I would help him. Unfortunately, the next year he was killed in an airplane crash. Helping out with people from Nicaragua.
I believe we have a great photo of you in here. Nice hairdo, by the way.
One of many hairdos of mine over the million miles I've traveled to curate over 1 million mementos.
I know you're fond of Jim Thorpe, knowing that you named me after him. And I never really asked you how you felt when you got that telegram out of the blue from Mrs. Thorpe to come get all of Jim's things. Were you like, I don't believe it? Like, what'd you do first?
I kind of was in shock and euphoria. Over a 10-year period, I literally traveled hundreds of miles to visit relatives of Jim Thorpe, and found his 3rd wife, Patricia, living in Cabazon, California. When I first met her, she showed me all these grandiose items of Jim Thorpe, the greatest athlete of all time, and I was salivating, and she wouldn't part with anything. And after keeping in touch with her and traveling out to see her to California on 3 different occasions, out of nowhere, I received this telegram. It said, "Am confined to bed, want you to have all of Jim's things, signed Patricia Thorpe." The most prized item beside his Indian clothes and trophies and medals was this Carlisle Indians football jersey, which is probably, again, the Mona Lisa of football jerseys. And we literally have a security trunk full of all of Jim Thorpe's mementos.
The 3rd item I wanted to ask you about is something from Cassius Clay, who was also known as Muhammad Ali after 1964. I was fortunate enough to meet him on your last encounter when you went to see him in Philadelphia in 1993. Out of all the items, what might be 2 of your favorite besides that USA jacket from the Olympics?
His 1959 Golden Gloves, when he was Cassius Clay, when he won the championship in Chicago, that I received from his father, Cassius Clay Sr., along with the gold medal that he had been given when he won the championship, is another one of the favorites in the Sports Immortals collection.
Let me share this with Gabby.
Yeah, wow.
And flip it over.
Flip this?
Yeah.
Touch it?
Go ahead.
Wow,
What's it say?
This is Cassius Clay.
And what's the date?
1959.
Yep. That was the year that he won the Golden Gloves. Honus Wagner was kind of your idol growing up, and they called you Young Honus because you were such a great shortstop. Something that eluded you was his T206 baseball card. Can you tell me what led to you acquiring it, where you acquired it, and how you felt after you acquired it.
Honus Wagner being the greatest shortstop of all time, I knew I had to have a Honus Wagner baseball card for the collection. I had heard about 2 cards in the New York area. Took a trip to New York, and one of the cards was owned by a dealer. I negotiated the purchase of the 2 most valuable cards at that time, the T206 Honus Wagner card and the Ed Plank card, and this being the Mona Lisa of baseball cards, the Honus Wagner card.
This card has unbelievable eye appeal, like no creases or anything.
Yeah.
But the reason that it got an authentic grade instead of a number was that the original owner clipped the corners to fit it into an album. And if it's clipped, the highest grade they could give is an authentic.
Wow.
But we've been told
okay.
if the corners were not clipped, it could be one of the most valuable ones in existence. For our purposes, we never really acquired it from a financial standpoint.
Yeah.
It was more of a display standpoint. So for what we wanted to use it as,
It works.
there's not much better eye appeal than this one.
And the corners, when Jim mentions, are so tiny in a way a clip, but that's the way they used to put cards in albums back in the early 1900s.
Last but not least, let's talk about Christy Mathewson. I know that it's one of your best curating stories, and I'd love for you to share it with as many people as possible.
Christy Mathewson was the greatest pitcher of his time in the early 1900s. Went to Bucknell University at a time that baseball players were looked upon as hooligans. In 1961, 1 year after I was married, I was taking my wife to Atlantic City and suddenly told her that we were turning off the road, the Pennsylvania Turnpike, to go to Lewisburg, PA, and see if we could locate some mementos from Mrs. Christy Mathewson. Met Mrs. Mathewson, told her about my story about being injured in a gasoline explosion, and she related that to the fact that her Christy was in World War I and had been injured in a gasoline explosion. So she immediately engulfed me with hugs and kisses and invited my wife, Marcia, and I in, gave us a tour of their premises, and then she gave me several items, including his glove, his chemical warfare medal that she had taken off his lapel of his World War I uniform before they closed the casket after his death, and she kissed him, and she said that was her most prized possession. She wanted me to have that, and she gave us numerous other items as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And make sure you are following us on all platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Of course, stay subscribed to Sports Immortals.